from Wingate University and WUTV. This is Wingate Today.
Hello and welcome to Wingate Today. I'm Jeff Atkinson. Meeting the growing needs in the healthcare field, our top story. Wingate University has received the okay to start a new graduate program popular with students and in short supply in the community. Starting in January, the university begins offering a doctorate in physical therapy, a fourth leg in Wingate's drive to become the healthcare educator in the Charlotte region.
I'll go ahead on in there and I'll show you kind of the floor plan.
He's starting from the ground up, and that includes taking prospective students on a tour of the remodeling going on in the Burnside-Dalton building, where the Doctor of Physical Therapy program will be.
And off here to the left will be this instructional lab.
Dr. Kevin Bruley, hired last July to launch the program, did the same thing 4 years ago at Lynchburg College in Virginia. Students celebrated with him when he turned 50. You've already built something, though. Why build another one?
Well, I wanted to make it better. I saw what I could make it better, and I saw a university that wanted it to be better, and that's why I'm here.
Didn't know physical therapists had to have a doctorate? They haven't. But the healthcare field is requiring that by 2015, all new physical therapists have a Doctor of Physical Therapy degree, raising the standards for the profession.
So that if someone came in off the street and to see a physical therapist, we're able to differentially diagnose what's going on and make sure that they are appropriate, first of all, for our services, and if not, that we're able to recognize that and refer them on to the correct healthcare practitioner.
Right now, there are 6 in the state offering DPT degrees: UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, Elon, East Carolina, and Winston-Salem State, and in the mountains, Western Carolina. Wingate's, when it begins in January, will be the only program in the Charlotte region. Without even a lot of publicity, Christina Kinlaw, Bruley's assistant, has been fielding emails and phone calls from prospective students. Demand for physical therapists outpaces what colleges can turn out. Employment of PTs is expected to grow by almost 40% over the next decade, more than double the average growth rate for all occupations.
There's just a lot of folks out there looking to employ physical therapists in a lot of different areas.
Alyssa Foote graduates in May with a bachelor's degree, liked what she saw on a campus visit in March.
When I saw that Wingate was starting a new program, that was very exciting to me because I thought, that's very cool. If I do apply and do get in and everything works out, I could be the first, class for the DPT.
Her mother, Sharon, who took the tour with her, says having her daughter close to home in Charlotte is a benefit among many.
That's another positive with Wingate, is that it's going to be small classes and a lot of hands-on, a lot of knowing who you're working with every day.
The program itself is going to follow the Wingate way of student-centered education, and that's why I'm here.
Wingate's Doctor of Physical Therapy program complements the 3 other healthcare degrees the university awards: pharmacy, physician assistant studies, and nursing. Physical therapy is set to launch in January with 42 students. If you'd like more information, go to DPT for Doctor of Physical Therapy.wingate.edu. The town of Wingate welcomes a new business in March. On Highway 74, next to the McDonald's and BP, officials are breaking ground on the Wingate Pharmacy. The You Save It pharmacy chain, based in Albany, Georgia, bought the land from the university and is making a $1.3 million investment in the town. Town manager Patrick Nyland says they hope it'll be a catalyst for future business development in Wingate.
The more new development you can get with certain design standards, the more it'll show people that businesses can be successful in town, and they can be successful looking a little bit nicer than what we have in town now.
The Wingate Pharmacy will be You Save It Pharmacy's 2nd location in North Carolina. The chain operates 25 stores, mainly in Georgia. The Wingate Pharmacy is expected to open in late summer. They call them different things. MIT calls its class Charm School. At Wake Forest, it's known as Business Casual. At Wingate, the event's called the Etiquette and Networking Dinner. Called different things, but they all have the same purpose. It's our cover story.
To start us out, I'm going to talk about some guidelines for any interaction, any conversation you ever have.
The evening starts with a pep talk on how to talk from Nicole Greer, a success coach and motivational speaker from Lake Norman.
I don't ever want to approach the conversation like I have everything in life already figured out. Have y'all ever known anybody who was always right about everything? We don't want to be that person, okay?
The conversation then moves in how to be bold, but not overbearing.
You got to be clear. about what you really, really want, because when you get into a networking situation, you got to be able to articulate clearly, passionately the thing that takes your breath away. This is what I really want.
On a recent Tuesday night, 60 Wingate students got dressed up and participated in the university's Etiquette and Networking Dinner, an event held twice a year to help students learn about social and business etiquette. It's a trend taking off around the country. MIT started a program 20 years ago called Charm School. Today, universities across the U.S. offer something similar, and apparently good thing too. According to a national survey, more than a third of employers and managers say today's hires act less professional than their predecessors. At the Wingate event, the purpose is simple: give students the kind of social skills they need to get and keep jobs.
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
There was a time for them to practice on real employers. Jason Presley met Jose Espelot with New York Life.
The more you talk to people, the more you get comfortable around them, and I believe that if you see others talking and you actually do it, it becomes natural.
Later, it's the main course, dinner, and we got a sneak peek at what the students would be experiencing.
Tonight we're going to walk through dining.
Etiquette coach Becky Pitts of Charlotte jokes that her mother started teaching her manners in the womb. Today, she goes all over the world, training corporate executives all the way down to 5-year-old kids.
People notice your manners, whether they're good or bad. And especially at the table, people notice.
At the table, she showed us what to remember. Just think sports car.
Remember B, all right, for bread. You have your meal plate, starts with the M. You have your water glass, the W, okay? Always think of the car, BMW. This is your territory. Don't you go out of it.
Organizers say events like this give students the edge over their competition. What they learn in school is more than education, they argue. It's also about preparing young people for life.
I know 2 young men that went for the same job, had the same college degree and everything, and I knew before they went who would get the job, because the other one's table manners were just awful.
Students tell us they enjoy the experience of the Etiquette and Networking Dinner. There's always something you can brush up on. Did you know, for example, that you never drink a toast to yourself? I didn't know that. The Bard of Avon would have been proud of what was happening at Wingate University in February.
She's spherical, like a globe. I could find out countries in her.
For the 29th year, the university hosted the annual Shakespeare Competition, inviting nearly 300 middle school and high school students from Union, Mecklenburg, and Cabarrus counties to compete. Students recite a 14-line sonnet from Shakespeare from memory, deliver and perform it in front of judges and a crowd.
It develops self-confidence. It develops an appreciation for poetry also. Once you memorize something, you begin to anticipate why Shakespeare used a particular image in a particular spot.
The first place winner in the high school division received a free trip to New York City to compete in the National Shakespeare Competition. Wingate awarded tuition scholarships to the first, second, and third place finishers in the high school division. Time for sports now, and we bring in the voice of Bulldog Sports, Ryan Brown. And the next time you're watching Wingate Sports, folks, you are going to see a big difference. What's going on, Ryan?
Jeff, thanks to the wonderful graces of Dr. Jerry McGee, Wingate Athletics from here on out will be in high definition, an amazing accomplishment for the sports network that's come a long way in the past 4 years. First conference school to go with streaming. Now we're going to be the first school in high definition, and I would put our equipment, our broadcast with anybody in the country right now, Division I or II.
What's been the reaction from the fans?
We had parents, now it was a basketball game as our first broadcast. We had parents from soccer, from volleyball, from softball, other sports, other coaches email me that night and just say, how excited they were for what an amazing decision this was for us to have.
It's hard to say what the difference is between standard definition and high definition, but it's almost like going from black and white to color.
It's unbelievable, the clarity, especially on those great zoom shots we like to get. As you can see there now, better close-up shots of some of the players The scoreboard comes in very clear, and really the facial expressions is what a lot of parents are into as well. You can really get those a good look at those as well.
A lot going on in sports. What's coming up next month?
Well, Jeff, we have a great story about a Wingate softball player that is as well-rounded of an athlete we have here at Wingate. Not only is she really coming into her own on the softball field, releasing an album, a huge moment in her life for Haley Whitley.
We'll look forward to that. Ryan Brown, thanks very much. To watch our athletics broadcast in HD on your computer, go to wingatebulldogs.com, look for multimedia, and then click on live video and audio to register to watch for free HD broadcasts. WUTV will continue to run live and replay sports broadcasts here on Channel 22. Coming up on Wingate today, following his dreams, a Wingate kicker and MBA student who never grew up playing football makes a play for the NFL. You'll meet him when we come back. What is Wingate? A thriving university nestled in a quiet community near Charlotte. Named 6th best value in the South by U.S. News & World Report. Leading the way in the health sciences with pharmacy, PA studies, and nursing. What is Wingate? Big enough to offer 22 NCAA sports. Small enough to attract the best and brightest in the world. What is Wingate? Wingate is you. Wingate University. Major in a great life. Welcome back to Wingate Today and our feature Alumni Spotlight. Contributing reporter Brian Stevenson and Wingate alum is with us now. And Brian, you met somebody who is no stranger to these studios.
That's exactly right, Jeff. Ryan Rose was a Wingate University television worker back in the year 2000 when he graduated. Also worked in the sports information office. And 13 years later, he is still following both passions. Ryan Rose is a busy guy.
For the last 7 years calling games for ESPN3 and started branching out into basketball this past year. It's been a lot of fun.
That's just his part-time job. His full-time job is working as an assistant sports information director at UNC Charlotte. In the spring, he spends most of his time with the baseball team, which is where I caught up with him.
I'm the only sports information guy that brings a paper scorebook with baseball, and that's just the way we're taught to do it. You know, if your computer crashes, what are you going to do? I always pay homage to David Sherwood whenever we go because I'm the guy that still does things kind of old school, just because I think it's the most thorough way to do things.
He is always prepared, but he loves the things you can't prepare for.
The greatest thing about sports is you have no idea what's going to happen. You can study all you want, but every time you show up, an NCAA record could be broken or an amazing play could be made. And I'm constantly seeing things that I've never seen before. And that's the most fun.
Fun and hard work have always been a part of Ryan's makeup. And he really made the most of his time at Wingate, doing radio broadcasting and acting.
I think people didn't realize that you could do both. There were probably half the campus that knew me as a performer and actor, the other half that knew me as the sports guy. And I think that's kind of one of the paramount things about Wingate is you can explore all the different sides of yourself.
Because of his great Wingate experience, he tries to now pass that on to current Bulldogs.
Some of those opportunities were paved my way by some of the people there, so I'm trying to make sure we keep that asphalt coming and we keep that road paving.
Helping anyone he can find success and enjoy life at the same time.
I've had a great run, I've enjoyed it. And we get paid to watch sports. I can't think of anything better than that. It just seems sometimes like you're stealing money.
Ryan is like a lot of us. He says that if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life, and he will keep on following that sports dream as long as he can.
Brian Stevenson, thank you very much. We go now from baseball to football and a story that ought to inspire us all. Kim Williams joins us now on scene with our overtime segment. Kim?
I'm at the Plotter Griffin Athletics Center, where I've just learned we have an MBA student who's going to an NFL tryout. This is an outstanding overtime story of a student athlete willing to take a chance with great expectations.
This month I'm going, actually end of the month, I'm going to an NFL Combine, so a tryout in Seattle.
Paul Gramaticopoulos will fly across the country by himself to compete with as many as 50 athletes in an NFL Combine for a shot at a kicking position on a professional football team.
It's a kicking tryout and trying to make a team. So NFL, CFL, AFL, it all depends on whether I'm good or not.
But you're from Paris.
I'm from Paris, yeah, from France.
Did you play football there?
No, we play soccer. I know there are a few teams, but never touched football before coming to the United States.
Beginning as an exchange student in high school, Paul lived in Hollywood, Florida, then moved to Iowa as a college student before coming to Wingate. At Wingate, he played soccer and was a kicker on the football team. He also played soccer in France for 14 years as a defender and was actually recruited to play soccer at Wingate.
It was a good transition, I guess, from soccer to football.
In 2011, he won the SAC Statistical Champion Award, an award given to the kicker with the highest percentage of field goals. Paul's percentage was an incredible 83.33. Paul, who also works as a grad assistant in community service initiatives, will graduate from Wingate's MBA program in December. He will put the books aside briefly for the tryouts to focus on football.
I'm going just to give it a shot, no regrets. I thought, I would try out, and I'd like to make a team, whether it's in arena, Canada, or maybe the NFL, but I'm just going there for the experience and hope for the best.
We wish Paul the best of luck and congratulate him on his aspirations. Reporting on scene, Kim Williams, Wingate Today.
Thanks, Kim. Here's a question for you. What do jeans, jogging, and doing good have to do with each other? Here to explain in this month's Blog Talk is Ben Richardson. Ben, what's this about?
Well, Jeff, 3 Wingate University students started a new tradition on campus that made noise on all social media channels. The 3 students, you see them here, organized an event called the Jorts Mile. It was held February 16th, and students paid $5 to run a mile on campus wearing cutoff jean shorts. To make things more interesting, the event came with some snow. The run raised more than $200 for charities. What was even more amazing was the media coverage it received. Within hours of the event, joggingjeans.com picked up the story. The website has a following of more than 1,000 people, and they get between 600 to 700 unique hits every day. Wingate's Jorts Mile was such a hit that joggingjeans.com used the story for blog postings 2 days in a row. The first blog covered the actual event along with pictures. At the end, the writer asked, "Who are you, people behind this race?" Rachel McCullough, a current senior, reached out to the website, and before you know it, a friendship was made. The writer then went on to post a second blog title, a how-to guide for running a denim-themed race. Again, our students were the featured models. While joggingjeans.com loved the fashion of our students, it was the heart of generosity that really captured their attention. The event was started by students, organized by students, and was for the students. And it's traditions like that that will reign forever on the campus of Wingate University for generations to come. American philosopher William James said it best, "Act as if what you do makes a difference." It does. And Jeff, that's all I have for Blog Talk this month.
Thanks so much, Ben. Still ahead on Wingate Today, North Carolina's former top educator says what he thinks we need to do in the schools in the state in the 21st century. The story coming up. What is Wingate?
All the awesome relationships I've made here at Wingate.
The faculty.
The Wingate family. The variety of things that Wingate has to offer to the students here.
What is Wingate? Wingate is you. Wingate University. Major in a great life. What is Wingate?
The friendships I've made. All the available resources that Wingate provides.
The small classes.
You build the relationship with your teachers, so.
What is Wingate? Wingate is you. Wingate University. Major in a great life. He's considered one of the key leaders in education in North Carolina, and for that matter, the country. And he was so impressed by the graduate education program being taught at Wingate University's Matthews campus that he agreed to teach a course himself on educational leadership.
This is what we're going to do.
Despite rising to the heights of education in North Carolina, Dr. Bill Harrison has never lost his first love, teaching students.
I started out as a teacher, and I think I've always been a teacher and always will be a teacher.
Today, he's teaching an educational leadership course to first-year students going after their educational doctorate at Wingate University Matthews campus. Quite a coup for the highly competitive program, considering who Bill Harrison is. Former chairman of the North Carolina State Board of Education, which sets policy for all the elementary and secondary schools in the state. Harrison, appointed by Governor Perdue in 2009, is the first person to serve as both State School Board Chairman and Chief Executive Officer for Education. When a lawsuit stripped Perdue of overstepping her bounds by making him CEO, Harrison stepped down from that role while continuing to be chairman of the board.
We've heard a lot about school reform, and schools have changed. The technology has changed schools, our society has changed, the job market has changed. But at the end of the day, it comes down to good teachers working with students.
Harrison told us he taught this course last fall on a part-time basis, but sees it fitting perfectly into what his full-time job as state school board chairman is. You find good educators and give them the tools they need to succeed, he says.
Good teachers are going to be recruited by, selected by, developed by, and retained by good principals. So I think key in this enterprise, if you will, is the principal getting the right people in classrooms working with children. And then the good principals want to go and work for good superintendents.
To help get there, last fall, Harrison and the state school board adopted this blueprint, Vision of Public Education in North Carolina, a great public education system for a great state. A vision Harrison hopes North Carolina embraces. The plan came together after public meetings with educators as well as business, community, and civic leaders from across the state.
Our hope is that this becomes something that's owned in our local communities and they determine what it's going to look like in Mecklenburg County, in Union County, in Cabarrus County, wherever we think it's kind of a vision comes from the top, but it needs to be implemented from the ground up.
If you want to see the 10-page vision report the state school board has adopted, we have it linked at our website. Go to wutv.org. What's the greatest single need in education in North Carolina right now? Without skipping a beat, Bill Harrison said, we need to do a better job of supporting our teachers. Al Young began a teaching career almost a half a century ago. His poetry and prose have been translated into more than a dozen languages. As a screenwriter, he produced scripts for some of the biggest names in entertainment, Portier, Cosby, and Pryor. Al Young visited Wingate in February as the 2013 Woodrow Wilson Visiting Fellow.
We are all totally members of one another. Marketing teaches us otherwise. Marketing teaches us that we're special, we deserve this, we deserve that, and we operate as if we function independently of the world and of others. This is a big mistake, and it's a self-destructive mistake.
Look for Al Young's speech in its entirety. It'll be broadcast this month here on WUTV 22. He was born into a family of storytellers, so it may have been destiny for him to become an author. Wiley Cash, who grew up in Gaston County, shared his latest book on the New York Times bestseller list with audiences here.
I'm from Gastonia, North Carolina originally, so go ahead and snicker. I can see some of you smiling.
His experiences growing up in North Carolina figure into his writings. Wiley Cash, not a household name yet, but someday maybe. In February, he addressed an audience at the Bat Center and encouraged would-be writers not to forget the most important thing.
If you want to be a writer, you have to be a reader. You have to read at least twice as much as you write. If you try to write without reading, it's like trying to drive a car that doesn't have gas in it. You're not going to get anywhere, and everyone is going to make fun of you.
No one's making fun of Wiley Cash after the success he's had. His first book, A Land More Kind Than Home, rocketed to the New York Times bestseller list shortly after it was released. It's a story about the fallout in a community in western North Carolina after an autistic boy is smothered during a healing service in church. How the community responds and heals itself afterwards is part of the narrative. Cash told us it's based on a true story that happened in Chicago.
I just thought it was obviously a terrible event, but I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to tell that little boy's story. But I couldn't write about Chicago, but I could write about North Carolina. So I just picked it up and set it in the hills, a place I knew.
My name is Wiley Cash.
As a writer just starting out, Cash will go to any lengths to sell books. He released this video, Top 10 Reasons Why Your Book Club Will Love A Land More Kind Than Home. At the end, he cracks a joke.
So that's the sound we're going to have it.
He told us it's all about thinking outside the box. What's ahead for this up-and-coming writer? Right now, he can't really see anything beyond getting his second book into print.
After someone who spent so much time waiting tables, I feel like I'm one bad decision away from waiting tables again. And I wasn't very good at it, so please buy my books and keep me out of terrorizing the tables of America.
Wiley Cash's second book is due out later this year. His visit to campus coincided with a fundraising event at Rolling Hills Country Club for the Friends of the Library at Wingate University. In April, local audiences will be treated to another North Carolina native. Jeannie Robertson of Burlington, near Greensboro, a 6'2" humorist who won Miss Congeniality in the Miss America pageant, will be here. Today, she travels the world entertaining audiences with tales of her life with her husband, Left Brain. She says don't send a man to the grocery store with a list.
I found my list, and in my eagerness to make sure that he could get through the express lane, for probably the first time in my life, I numbered the items. Number 1, a pound of butter, no problem. Number 2, large bottle of vanilla flavor, and I had 2 of them. Number 3, a dozen eggs. This man has a doctorate degree.
Jeannie Robertson will be in town appearing at Wingate's Austin Auditorium on Sunday, April 7th at 4 o'clock. For tickets, visit thebatcenter.org. Family and friends of Wingate University want to keep their eye on their mailboxes this month. The spring edition of the Wingate Today magazine will be arriving soon. The theme on the cover this time, the international experience Wingate offers. The magazine has an article on 2 of the university's longest-serving professors and a book called Crossing Boundaries that they co-wrote. And there's a feature called Lights, Camera, Action, a story about this show and some of the new programming on WUTV 22. And finally, well, it's gone around the world, and now it's here. The Harlem Shake. They did it at halftime of the men's basketball game on a recent Wednesday night. It started with the Wingate Bulldog, and then the crowd went crazy. As with all the other Harlem Shakes, this one too was uploaded to YouTube and is approaching 3,000 hits. Around the world, the compulsive dance moves setting the internet ablaze shows no sign of stopping. YouTube says videos with the term Harlem Shake have been viewed 700 million times. And that's our show for this time. I'm Jeff Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
Comments? Questions? Contact us. Wingate Today is a production of WUTV and Wingate University's Department of Marketing and Communications.
What is Wingate?
All the cool people.
The close-knit community.
Beautiful campus.
My coworkers and student help.
All the facilities they provide for us to get a good education.
What is Wingate? Wingate is you. Wingate University. Major in a great life. What is Wingate?
All the friends that I've made.
Professors. Sports management program.
For all the awesome relationships I've made here at Wingate.
The Wingate family.
What is Wingate? Wingate is you. Wingate University. Major in a great life.